Listen carefully. You have spent years trying to understand women. You have read the signals wrong. You have chased what pulled away. You have stayed quiet when you should have spoken, and spoken when you should have stayed silent. Tonight that ends. Not because you will learn tricks, because you will learn yourself. Most men never study psychology. They study tactics. They memorize lines. They collect techniques like weapons, hoping one of them will finally work. But techniques fail because people are not puzzles to be solved. They are mirrors. What you attract, what you keep, what you lose, all of it reflects who you are underneath the performance. The Stoics knew this 2,000 years ago. They never taught men how to manipulate others. They taught men how to master themselves first, because a man who masters himself becomes someone worth choosing. This is not a video about control. This is a video about clarity. 10 lessons, each one rooted in Stoic discipline, each one tested against real human behavior, each one designed to make you calmer, stronger, and harder to shake. By the end, you will not see women as a mystery to crack. You will see yourself as the variable you have the power to change. That shift alone will transform every relationship in your life. Let us begin with the first lesson, and it is the foundation for everything that follows. Lesson 1. Energy speaks before words do. Long before you say a single sentence, your presence has already said everything. The way you walk into a room, the way you hold a silence without needing to fill it, the way your eyes move, steady or scattered. People read energy faster than they process language. A woman does not need you to tell her you are calm. She needs to feel it radiating from you, the way heat radiates from a fire without announcement. The Stoics called this command of the self. Marcus Aurelius did not need to convince anyone he was an emperor. His composure proved it before he opened his mouth. Most men get this backwards. They think the right words will fix a nervous, scattered, needy energy. They rehearse lines, plan jokes, prepare responses. But underneath all of that preparation, their energy is shouting the truth. I am anxious. I am seeking approval. I am not settled in myself. And people feel that, even when they cannot name it. If you want to change how people respond to you, stop editing your words and start editing your inner state. Sit with discomfort until it stops controlling your face. Walk slower. Breathe slower. Let silence exist without rushing to break it. This is not performance. This is regulation. And regulation is something you build through repetition, the same way you build muscle. Every time you choose calm over reaction, you are training the energy that walks into every room before you do. Lesson 2. Validation seeking repels. Indifference to outcome attracts. This sounds harsh, but it is one of the most consistent patterns in human behavior. The moment you need someone's approval more than you value your own peace, you become predictable, and predictability removes mystery. Worse, it removes respect. People are drawn to those who seem complete on their own, not because completeness is attractive in itself, but because it signals stability. Nobody wants to build something with a person who might collapse without their validation. The Stoic concept here is called the dichotomy of control. Epictetus taught that some things are within your power and some things are not. Whether someone likes you, responds to you, chooses you, that is not fully within your power. Your character, your effort, your integrity, that is within your power. The moment you stop outsourcing your sense of worth to someone else's reaction, you become unshakable. And unshakable people are rare. Rare things are valuable. This is not a trick to appear indifferent while secretly craving approval underneath. That gap will always show. This is about genuinely building a life so full, so disciplined, so rooted in your own purpose, that no single person's opinion can knock you off balance. When you reach that point, you stop performing for reactions. And ironically, that is when real connection becomes possible, because it is no longer built on fear of loss. Lesson 3. Boundaries are not walls, they are the architecture of self-respect. A man without boundaries is a man without a shape. He bends wherever pressure is applied. He says yes when he means no. He tolerates disrespect because he is afraid that setting a limit will cost him the relationship. But here is the truth nobody tells you. Tolerating disrespect does not preserve a relationship. It slowly destroys it from the inside, because resentment builds in silence. The Stoics practiced something called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of difficulties. They imagined hard outcomes in advance, so they would not be shaken when those outcomes arrived. Apply this to boundaries. Decide in advance what you will and will not accept. Decide it when you are calm, not in the heat of conflict. Then hold that line with quiet consistency. Not anger, not ultimatums, just calm follow-through. A boundary stated once and enforced is worth more than a boundary repeated 100 times with no action behind it. People test boundaries not because they want to break you, but because they are searching for your edges, searching for what is solid in you. When they find solid ground, they relax into it. When they find nothing but shifting sand, they lose respect even if they stay. Lesson 4. Listening is a discipline, not a pause before your turn to speak. Most conversations are not real conversations. They are two people taking turns broadcasting, waiting for their moment to talk about themselves. Real listening requires discipline because it requires silencing your own internal commentary long enough to actually receive what another person is saying. The Stoics valued logos, reasoned understanding, over impulsive reaction. You cannot reason well if you have not first listened well. When you listen without planning your response, without judging, without rushing to fix or relate everything back to yourself, people feel it immediately. It is rare. Most people go their whole lives without being truly heard, even by people who claim to love them. If you become a person who listens with full presence, you separate yourself from almost everyone else they have ever interacted with. This is not a technique to make someone feel special so they will like you. This is a practice of respect, a recognition that another human being's inner world deserves your full attention, not your divided one. Build this skill, and you will find that people open up to you in ways that surprise you, not because you asked the right questions, but because you finally created space for them to be heard. Lesson 5. Consistency reveals character faster than any words can. Anyone can say the right thing once. Anyone can perform discipline for a week, kindness for a month, ambition for a single conversation. What separates real character from performance is what a person does when no one is impressed anymore, when the excitement of newness has worn off, when showing up requires effort with no immediate reward. The Stoics called this practicing virtue as a daily discipline, not an occasional display. If you want to be trusted, be consistent in small things. Show up when you say you will. Follow through on small promises before anyone asks you to prove yourself on big ones. People do not build trust based on grand gestures. They build it based on the accumulation of small, repeated reliability. 1,000 small moments of consistency build more trust than one extravagant moment of effort. This applies to every relationship in your life, romantic or otherwise. Consistency is not exciting. It will not get attention in the moment. But over time, It becomes the foundation that everything else is built on. Inconsistent men create anxiety in the people around them. Consistent men create safety. Safety is what allows real intimacy to grow. Lesson 6. Emotional reactivity is a tell, not a strength. When something upsets you, the speed and intensity of your reaction reveals exactly how much control you have over your inner state. Many men believe that strong emotional reactions, jealousy, anger, dramatic displays, prove how much they care. In reality, these reactions prove the opposite. They prove that your peace depends entirely on external circumstances, that you have not yet built an internal anchor. Seneca wrote extensively about anger, calling it a temporary madness, because in the moment of reacting, you give away your power completely. The other person or the situation now controls you. The Stoic path is not suppression, pretending you feel nothing. It is regulation, feeling the emotion fully, understanding where it comes from, and choosing your response deliberately rather than being hijacked by it. This takes practice. It means pausing before you respond to something that stings. It means asking yourself, will this reaction serve the outcome I actually want? Or is it just venting heat because I feel threatened? The man who can feel anger and still respond with calm clarity is far more respected and far more trusted than the man who explodes the moment he feels challenged. Mastering this is not about becoming cold. It is about becoming steady, so steady that storms pass through you without uprooting you. Lesson 7. Self-sufficiency is what makes love possible, not what prevents it. There is a myth that needing someone deeply is what makes a relationship meaningful. In truth, desperate need creates fragile bonds, because it shifts the entire relationship from a place of choice to a place of dependency. When you need someone to complete you, every interaction becomes loaded with fear, fear of loss, fear of disappointing them, fear of being not enough. That fear leaks into everything you do. The Stoics pursued what they called autarkia, self-sufficiency, not as isolation, but as inner completeness that does not collapse without external support. When you build a life with purpose, discipline, friendships, physical health, and personal growth, you stop approaching relationships from a place of lack. You approach them from a place of abundance, where another person adds to an already full life, rather than fills a hole in an empty one. This is the difference between wanting someone and needing someone. Wanting comes from strength. Needing comes from fear. People can feel which one is driving you, even if you never say a word about it. Build the kind of life that does not depend on anyone else's presence to feel solid, and you will find that the relationships you do build are healthier, calmer, and far more likely to last. Lesson 8. Respect is built through actions repeated under pressure, not promises made in comfort. It is easy to be kind when everything is going well. It is easy to be patient when nothing is testing you. The real measure of a man's character shows up when things get difficult, when stress is high, when patience is thin, when there is no audience to perform for. Stoic philosophy was built almost entirely around this idea that virtue is proven in adversity, not in comfort. If you want someone's lasting respect, do not focus on saying impressive things during easy moments. Focus on how you behave during hard ones. Do you stay calm during conflict? Or do you become cruel? Do you keep your word when keeping it is inconvenient? Or do you make excuses? Do you take responsibility when you are wrong? Or do you deflect and blame? These moments, the difficult ones, are where real respect is either earned or destroyed. Anyone can be a good partner, a good friend, a good son during the easy seasons. The discipline is in being that same person during the hard seasons, without needing applause for it. Lesson 9. Growth requires discomfort, and avoiding discomfort keeps you exactly where you are. Most men want change without friction. They want stronger relationships without doing the uncomfortable work of self-examination. They want respect without first respecting themselves. They want deep connection without first sitting with their own loneliness long enough to understand it. But growth, real growth, only happens on the other side of discomfort. The Stoics trained themselves deliberately through hardship, sometimes choosing minor discomforts on purpose, sleeping without comfort, eating simply, going without certain pleasures, not to suffer for the sake of suffering, but to build the muscle of enduring discomfort calmly. If you want to become a man who is calm, secure, and emotionally mature, you have to be willing to sit with the discomfort of self-honesty. You have to look at your own patterns, the ways you have sought approval, the ways you have avoided conflict, the ways you have let fear drive your decisions. And you have to be willing to change those patterns, even when it feels unnatural at first. This discomfort is not punishment. It is the price of becoming someone different than who you were yesterday. Every version of you that you admire, the calm one, the disciplined one, the secure one, was built through repeated discomfort, not avoided through comfort. Lesson 10. Becoming the right kind of man is the only lesson that actually matters. Everything before this has been pointing toward one truth. You cannot understand or attract anything healthy in another person until you have done the work on yourself first. Psychology is not a set of tricks you apply to someone else. It is a mirror that shows you exactly where you still need to grow. The Stoics never promised an easy path. They promised a meaningful one, built through daily discipline, self-control, and unwavering commitment to becoming a better version of yourself, regardless of outcome. If you take only one thing from everything you have just heard, take this. Stop trying to figure out how to get someone to choose you. Start building a life and a character so strong, so calm, so disciplined, that the right kind of person naturally wants to be near it. That is not manipulation. That is magnetism built the honest way. It cannot be faked, and it cannot be rushed. It is built one disciplined choice at a time, one moment of self-control at a time, one act of integrity at a time, until one day you look back and realize you have become someone you do not even recognize, someone calmer, someone stronger, someone whole. The work starts today, not with someone else, but with you. Close this video and go build that man.